Hey everyone, it is Wednesday. We are live at 5, but we are doing something a little bit different tonight. Like I've been advertising a little bit once a month, we're going to be going live with a special guest, either an industry expert, cleaning business owner. This is the first episode of Maids Who Made It podcast. So welcome everyone. I am your host. My name is Cheryl Hager. I'm an active cleaning business owner. I own Maid Bright Cleaning in the Boston, Massachusetts area. I'm also a maid service coach. My company is Sisters Who Scale. You might have heard of it. And now a podcast host. So why a podcast? Because as a coach, I get to hear everyone's story on a daily basis, their successes, their defeats, their triumphs, all their struggles. And I feel that it's important for all of you to hear when you are growing your own cleaning business that you aren't alone. Many people are going through or have gone through a similar situation, or what you're struggling with, the exact same things that you are. A picky client, a toxic employee, whatever it is, you are not alone. So I decided that one time per month, instead of having my Live at 5 training, I will have a guest on that is in the cleaning business industry, and they're going to come and share stories with all of you. We will be live on my personal Facebook page and my YouTube channel, so you can subscribe to that and get these podcasts every single month. At some point, they will be on Spotify. They're not yet. They're just live streams every single month. So each month, I'm going to highlight a successful maid service owner from all around the world. Could be US, Canada, Australia, England, wherever you are, or an industry expert. And we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everything's going to be raw. Everything's going to be unfiltered the way I like it. So super excited today to have Kelly Jenkins on from Daisy Fresh Cleaning out of Houston, Texas. You were my first guest. There is no pressure. Welcome, Kelly.
No pressure. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks so much for having me on.
Didn't you guys just get snow down in Texas?
We did. It's quite cold. I mean, we got temps down to 16 degrees. We got about 1.5 inches of snow. I was hoping for more, but we had a couple of much needed days off, so that was nice.
That is crazy. Everyone panics when there is snow. See, I'm from New England. I'm from Massachusetts. So we're just like, oh, snow. Oh, it's here, whatever. But I forgot that there's no salt and sand down in Texas. So you guys really aren't prepared for it.
We are not. We have no salt, sand, nothing, and the homes are not built for it. So we have to keep the faucets dripping, the cabinets open. A lot of times when in 2021, a lot of homes had snow under the shingles, and so it created waterfalls in people's homes. So I'm just thankful that did not happen. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. See, our houses are built different, but they're built for it. So just a little bit for everyone, just a little bit of background about Kelly. Kelly is a graduate from the Drop Them Off and Scale Accelerator program that I run. She has also come to a 3-day in-person learning rise retreat in Seabrook, New Hampshire back in September. That was the first retreat. And she is now a Sisters Elite member, which is my graduate program where all of my true rock stars that are growing thousands of dollars at a time, they're getting out of the field and they're really creating legacies for themselves. So Kelly is a rock star, even though she's shy about that. Kelly and I have worked together one-on-one in a group setting, and I have to say it has been a true honor being your coach and helping you grow your business. And it's only up from here. You are a true force to be reckoned with, and it's only a matter of time, girl. Kelly's also a former Ironman competitor. We're going to talk about that today as well, and how it relates to building her cleaning business, and also touch on when she was forced to be the breadwinner in a family unexpected situation, how that all rolled out, what that was like. So I'm done talking. Kelly, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in San Diego, currently live in the north part of Houston, but I grew up in San Diego with 3 older sisters and my mom and dad. And shortly after going to college, I met my husband. We worked at the same sporting goods store, but different locations. And I went in there for a pair of rollerblades, and I was looking around, and this tall, dark, good-looking guy comes out. He goes, "Hi, can I help you?" And I totally forgot what went there for. I was just mesmerized by him. And it was so obvious. It was a bit awkward. And I just started laughing. He started laughing. And then he ended up asking me out. And we eloped less than a year later. We've been married for 30 years since. And now we're in Texas.
Did you just say rollerblades? You went to buy a pair of rollerblades?
Went to buy a pair of rollerblades. Yep.
I used to rollerblade too, like a crazy person. I loved rollerblading. It's so funny you said that.
I know. We have so much in common.
I know. So before we get into your cleaning business, did you start any other businesses before? Tell us about that.
I've always had an entrepreneurial heart. So I did web page design way back when. I had a side hustle of buying things at garage sales and reselling them when my kids were little, just to contribute and do something. And then as my kids got older, I got certified as a personal trainer, and I started doing that. And then my husband and I expanded that and started doing boot camps at local parks.
So your husband and you were both doing the boot camps together?
Yeah. So, we kind of expanded it and started doing that. And it became really popular. He actually went to large corporations and started selling it as their corporate wellness program. So it did really well. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about your cleaning business. So why did you start your cleaning business?
Okay. So while we were living in Houston, about a month before COVID, his whole division got laid off. They sold the division, and we were like, wow, what do we do now? So he started a consulting business. COVID hit, things got crazy. The boys moved out. So we decided to have like a semi-retirement and move to a small little lake town outside of Lake Travis, which is just west of Austin. And we were enjoying living there. And because of COVID and the climate of things changing, his business was not doing well at all. Our son, one of our boys, had severe medical issues, so we were having to pay for that. Things just started compiling, and for about 2 years we had no income. So things started to really
and COVID affected a lot of people. Like a lot of people had life changes, job changes, they moved, like all kinds of stuff was turned upside down. So I don't think you're alone in that.
Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, almost everybody we know, it impacted them in some way. Some people lost their business, but what used to work, we found out was not working. Because his consulting business had always been very successful. So it just changed, and I hated seeing him so stressed out, and I thought I have to do something.
So you guys were living on savings for 2 years.
Over 2 years. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, so thankful for savings though. So it got to the point where we had to make some tough decisions, and
that's crazy. So how'd you get the idea of house cleaning, like as a job?
Well, we were living in an area that had a lot of Airbnbs, and people had second homes there. They vacationed there. And so I heard that, cleaning businesses were lucrative, low startup costs. And so I thought, I can do this. I've had businesses before. I can do this. And so I immediately researched. I got my name, my branding. I did all that. And within 2 months, I was on a waiting list. It just went so well. And I thought, oh my gosh, I could really scale this and make this bigger. So
So now your husband, being the breadwinner for so long, and then his wife goes out and cleans houses. How was that?
Oh, he was so supportive. He's my biggest cheerleader.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
Yeah.
But you would think that he might feel like, oh my God, I can't support my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
He felt terrible. Oh my gosh, he felt so bad. Because he's always provided. I've never had to work. I only had side hustles because I wanted to.
Right.
So it was quite an adjustment. He was super proud of me, but also felt horribly, like, especially to see how tired I was. And how far outside my comfort zone I was, because I have anxiety with new situations, doing things. I hadn't worked in 20
What
something
do you
years.
mean? I can hardly get you on this podcast. What do you mean?
Yeah,
we
case
had
in
to do a
point.
little practice last week.
Yeah, I almost had a bottle of wine before, but
So you start going to get houses, going to get accounts, you're cleaning, you're coming home. But how did you feel that now you were actually at that moment in time bringing in the money to pay the bills?
oh my gosh, it felt amazing.
Mm.
Because I love to build businesses, I finally felt like self worth, because
Mm.
I always had something in me to do side businesses, but because I didn't have to work, I really got complacent. But I
Yeah.
also felt empty. There's a toggling of emotions between feeling empty but complacent and comfortable. And
Yeah.
so if you're complacent, you're not growing. And as uncomfortable it is to put yourself in situations where you're like really not comfortable,
Yeah.
you're not going to grow. You're not going to grow. And then you feel empty. So I like to always be pushing myself. Let me back up. I don't like that. But I know on the other side of pushing myself is like feeling good, self-confidence, and feeling like I made this.
Well,
So
it's interesting that you say that. It brings me back. So, like so many women now in today's day and age, like, they have careers, they have jobs, people need two incomes, right, to survive right now. But like 30 years ago, like my mother didn't have to work. My dad was a dentist. My mom didn't work. But as we got older, she felt that she didn't have any purpose. And I think that happens when women don't have to work for the money, right? They take care of the kids. And although that is fulfilling, it's not fulfilling enough. I think
exactly.
women really want to have purpose and want to feel that they're contributing and they're creating something, like of their own, right? Men just have to go to work, right? At least most of them, anyways. But like for a woman to feel purpose and that she's contributing to the family like that must have been a big deal for you.
Huge, huge deal.
Yeah.
So much so, in fact, that we are back in Houston, because he got an amazing job, and I
Yeah.
could have not started a second location here, but because I enjoyed it so much and I felt such satisfaction, not only in myself, but helping people. I had 4 clients that cried when I told them I was moving. And I did not realize the impact a cleaner can have on people. And it just reignited my passion, not only for building something for my family and employees and giving them a great place to work, but the clients. I am passionate about taking care of my clients. And, most of my clients, almost all of them, they work so hard at what they do, whether it's family or their job or their business. And when they get home, they don't want to clean. They're
I don't want to clean my house.
Yeah, I don't either. They're depleted. And so I find an immense satisfaction of taking care of them. And so that's one of the reasons why I leave little details around the house, little special touches, because I want my clients to feel taken care of. They get home from a rough day, they walk in the house and they're like, oh, Daisy Fresh Cleaning has been here, and they feel loved and taken care of. And that's my passion.
No, it's a big deal. Like, a lot of people don't realize that, clutter, dirtiness, all that stuff causes women extreme anxiety and stress. Like when my house is all messy and stuff, I go in like a tornado and I clean it up and I have to do like everything all at once. But that it's because it gives clutter and uncleanliness gives women natural anxiety. So
100%.
it makes you feel so good. So you knew you were down in Austin, and so now you're in Austin. Husband gets a new job up in Houston, so now that's 3 hours away. So then you move, and now you're moving to Houston, or now you have moved to Houston. You've been there now, for a bit now. But the Houston market, the cleaning business market, is extremely different. How did that, tell me how it was different? How is that affecting you as you build a second office?
So different. I I did a market study before I moved, so I knew it would be different, that the rates that I charge would not be the same. But it's so different seeing it in black and white and experiencing it. So yeah, the business is oversaturated here with cleaners. We have a lot of pop-up cleaners. There's a lot of competition with great cleaning companies as well. So you're getting it from all over, but the rates are not the same. So when I first moved, I really struggled with my sales and thinking of where
you're really good at sales. So
I know, but it made me second guess it. I mean, that's one of the things I really love. And so I'm like, okay, so my closing rate went from 80 to 90% to 50%. But according to your husband, that's right where I need to be. So
Jay, everyone's going to meet Jay. Jay is going to be famous someday. So different states, and I see it, right? So I coach people all over the country and pretty much almost in every state now, which is really kind of cool. But every state is different. And Texas is so big. Texas is almost like 3 states put into one. So, you have Austin down below, and then you have Dallas, and you have Houston. So it's differentiating in the way that you can't get as much per house clean. So there's 2 reasons why it's oversaturated, and we have a lot of crappy cleaners out there. Like you said, pop-up cleaners. That's the industry word. We call them pop-up cleaners, people that are doing a side hustle that maybe aren't carrying insurance, don't have any experience, just are cleaning a few houses. And what that does overall is when you have cleaners that pop up and don't understand the industry rates, they drive the industry down as a whole. Hopefully in the coming years, we're going to see that may change a little bit. We got some different things going on. You all know what I'm talking about. So things may change a little bit in our industry, hopefully for the better, because we want everyone, not all house cleaners are created equal. So you could get someone that has a side hustler that's doing it for less, but that it isn't showing up on time, cancels half the time, is doing a crappy job. Then you have someone like you that you have a sales package, you're fully insured, you have workers' comp, you have all those things that makes for a better service overall. I mean, you have it all together when it comes to you have to see. I wish I should have had you bring it on, but maybe I can have you show the group or whatever, but your sales package is like dynamite.
Thanks.
It's awesome.
Thank
Super. She's loves to market, loves sales, loves Canva. She's like a Canva expert. But so it changed. Even though you did the market study, I remember when you did the market study, but then, getting it on paper, like you said, and then actually going out into people's houses is 2 different things. So how is that affecting you mentally?
Initially, I doubted everything. I was like, okay, I guess I'm not good at sales. I guess my sales package sucks. I guess that, my branding is not what I thought it was. I mean,
no, it is. It's good.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm proud of it, but it does make you, it messes with your mind because I mean, I was charging top rate as a newbie and I was getting it without blinking an eye. Yeah. And I come here and I'm like getting no. And I'm like, what is happening?
And the main not criticism, but the main feedback was it was too expensive, right?
Yeah. Like what I would charge $220, $230, people were paying somebody $130.
Wild. Which is under market value. So let's just say if anyone's watching this, it is not owns a cleaning company, and you're getting this, that $130 for a 4,000 square foot house is not where it needs to be. A 4,000 square foot house needs to be in between minimum $200 and $275 for a biweekly cleaning. And there's a huge misconception in the industry. And people like me, people like Kelly are working to change that every day. Because it's hard work, right?
It is hard work. And, I don't think that people realize that. And then also in the same breath, they'll say, but they put bleach on my natural stone. but yet they still want that rate. And so it's an education process. I tell them why. I explain the extensive training all my employees go through, the background checks, the insurance. It's re-educating the client. And then if they still choose to go with that, at least I've educated them. They're not my client. There's plenty of clients out there that are willing to pay for the quality.
Yeah, 100%. And so the reason why they're charging less is because they're not paying taxes, right? Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. They're not, somebody that's charging $130 to get a 4,000 square foot house cleaned is not paying American taxes. And that's not fair to the companies that are paying taxes, that are doing everything the right way, right? They're just stuffing the cash under the mattress, right? And they're going on and they're doing that. So a lot of things can happen when you pay people under the table that don't have a legitimate business. You have no protections. If anything happens, if anything gets stolen, which, that happens in the industry, people that are not, regulated can steal things, and you have no recourse as a homeowner, or worse off, if someone doesn't have insurance and gets hurt on your property, you are 100% liable for anything that happens. So hire someone like Kelly, someone that has their shit together, for lack of a better word, right? And has a real legitimate company, right? So I love your company. Tell us all about Daisy Fresh.
Well, Daisy Fresh, I got the name from my sister who had a cleaning business way back when she was raising her daughter as a single mother. And I feel very sentimental to it because it's like a family business. And it got her daughter raised, and then it got us, out of a bind until my husband got a great job. And so it has a lot of meaning. But our company as a whole is built on integrity and doing the right thing, even when nobody's watching. We give back to the community. I feel very strongly about that. We do free cleans for cancer patients, veterans, anybody who's struggling, really. So I'm super happy about that. And that's near and dear to my heart. So,
that's awesome.
And then aside from that, like I mentioned before, I have a passion for making people feel taken care of. And so the little details we leave around the house, we'll fold the towels up really pretty, put little daisies in the towels,
cool.
Fold the toilet paper in a little triangle, and I have a daisy stamp, and it's so funny. These things don't take that long, but people absolutely love it. Our clients are so thrilled when they come home. They always mention it. And then recently I had a client that came home from the hospital. Her husband wanted the house cleaned for her before she got home. Yeah. And we're still there cleaning because, men, they wait till the last minute. So she goes,
what do you mean?
She goes to the bedroom that we cleaned, and then we're working on the living room, and she comes out and she's just in tears. And she's like, I just want you guys to know how special it is that you folded the blankets. And then she starts crying and she goes, and there was a daisy stamp on the toilet paper. Like, it just hit me like, wow. Like, it's not just a little thing to do for branding. Those things make people feel taken care of and loved.
Well, I mean, you had a really profound impact on her. And I think, that's, as women, we're natural born caretakers anyways. So when we make someone feel good by doing something like that, it makes us feel good. Yeah. But that must have made you, did you go in the car and cry when you were done? Because I probably was.
No, I was just like, oh my gosh. Like it's mind blowing to me, the impact that we can make on people. Like it's just cleaning, but it's not just cleaning. Like, we really can make an impact on people's lives. Yeah.
And that's why we do what we do, right? So let's talk about that's all the good stuff, right? So let's talk about the challenging stuff. What would you say you find challenging about building a cleaning business?
By far, starting off and having to wear all the hats. So you're in the field all day, you're cleaning, you come home, you're tired. But guess what? You got to do walkthroughs, and you got to send out invoices and quotes, and you got to do social media marketing, and you got to get your website up, and you got to do accounting. And Like it's wearing all the hats. There's not enough hours in the day.
Totally. And everyone thinks that, and it depends, right? People start cleaning companies for different reasons, but like people think that starting a business is easy and they're going to work. I'm going to start my own business and I'm going to work less. Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You're going to work harder than that, because you still have to do the other things. You still have to do the house stuff, the grocery shopping, the errands, the cooking. I mean, sometimes the men pitch in, which is wonderful, but that doesn't happen. Like it should happen more, right? But so it's difficult to be able to do all that stuff at the end of the day, which is probably like a 10-hour day. You're exhausted, and especially if you're cleaning.
Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah, totally. So can you give the viewers an example of like what was really hard for you? Like, is it the cleaning work itself? Is it competing against other companies? Is it pricing? What do you find difficult?
Honestly, putting all the hours into it, and then is it going to be worth it? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I am putting so much blood, sweat, and tears into this little baby, and I'm hoping that it grows into what I want it to be.
Were you fearful of that not happening in the beginning?
Yes. Well, initially, I was fearful just walking into a house to clean it. So, yeah, there's different levels of fear. When I first started, even doing a walkthrough was terrifying to me. Cleaning, every first clean, I had major anxiety. And now it's funny, you have to push yourself because now I don't even think about those things. It's just like, whatever.
Do you remember your first walkthrough?
I do. Yes. And
Let's talk about that. What was it like?
She ended up being my best client. Oh my gosh, she's like a grandma to me now. So I walked in and I had my little clipboard and I had my checklist, and I was explaining things to her, and I just tried to be personal and help her. Like, I was nervous, but if I took my eyes off of me and went in with the attitude of, I'm going in to help this person.
Yeah.
It took the pressure off, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I reframed it. It's not about me. It's how I can help her. And we just hit it off. And she's like, I just love your philosophy. And I love this, that, and the other. I want you to clean my house. And she became my biggest promoter and best client. We still keep in touch. She sends me gifts, and she sent me this little thing when she went on vacation. It's a pop-up card, but with all these little daisies in it. And I mean, she's just the sweetest. I love her.
That's cool. It's interesting that you're talking walkthrough, right? And I know, that there's people do different things different ways, but when you're doing residential, you really have to meet people, right? It's very difficult. You can do an estimate, square footage, or you have your own formulas and stuff, but like if you really want to retain your clients, like my company, I still do in-person walkthroughs. When I get to the point where I hand that off to someone else, that person that I hire will be just as personable as I am, because I truly believe it's important to create a relationship. If you want like a 90% retainment fee with clients, I highly recommend doing in-person estimates, which you do. You have such a great personality. You have that, even though you're technically from California, you have that Southern Texas charm that like nobody can hate. So like you do amazing in-person walkthroughs.
Thanks.
You connect with the client and stuff like that. And that's really all about that. But did you feel on your first walkthrough, did you sort of feel like an imposter? Like, oh my God, this person doesn't know this is my first walkthrough?
100%. Like, I think I felt like an imposter for months. Like, I can't tell you. I mean, I really can't tell you the level of anxiety I had. And I had to listen to podcasts 24/7. And when I got home from work, I would be so exhausted mentally just from putting myself out there and the strength that it took just to do these stupid little things. I just went straight to bed.
You mentally wore yourself out. You were having like a ping pong game in your head.
Totally. It was exhausting. I exhausted myself. It did not need to be that hard, but I literally would beat myself up. The angel and the devil were fighting.
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
So would you say, I mean, you're a pretty positive person. You always see the silver lining in anything. Was there ever a time that you felt like defeated and you wanted to quit?
Honestly, I could say knock on wood, no. There's been tough days where I had to like pull myself up, but I will say, and I know we'll talk about this a little bit later, but my Ironman training had really trained me to not let any negative thoughts in. Like I immediately shut it down because I knew if I wanted to do Ironman and finish it, if I let that negative thought spiral, I would be done before I even started.
Yeah.
So I learned the discipline of thinking positive and I've had rough days. I've had people quit, no show, all the things, but I just don't give that thought any time because I know if I do, that is opening up the door to spiraling because what you focus on increases. Why would I deliberately focus on negative? I mean, because I know without a shadow of a doubt that would lead to failure. So why would I do that? So I flip the script, I change it, I listen to a podcast, I work out, I walk my dogs, I do anything then to think about what that is. And also to remember other people have done this. Yeah. So if other people can do it, I can do it. Other people can do it. You just have to flip the script and not go down that road.
What's that expression that you say that I love? I can't think of it. What is it?
If you're in your head, you're dead. And that got me through Ironman training. Yeah.
That's a great expression. And I think it's good for you to tell everyone that because a lot of people will get so down on themselves and you really can go into a dark hole 100%. At that point, right? 100%. You have to be as an entrepreneur, like whether you're a cleaning business owner or any type of entrepreneur, you have to be I love this phrase. It was from Steve Jobs. We all know who he was. You have to be unrealistically optimistic. Like you have to believe when everyone else is telling you this isn't going to work. You have to just find the one reason why it's going to work. And then that's it. Once you make that decision mentally, then everything just falls in line. But like you can't give up. You knew that if you let yourself go down that dark hole, that you were gonna be dead. So anyone out there listening that feels like they want to quit, don't quit. You're just having a bad day. You got to get up. You got to keep going, right? You got to keep going because nothing good comes easy. I'm sure you agree with that.
You have to turn off your brain and just take the next step. That's all you have to do. Just take the next step and then the next step and then the next step. And the next day is a different day and it's better.
Yeah. You're going to have crappy days. And then like, it's going to feel like 360 days. Like one day will be amazing. The next day will be crappy. The next day will be half crappy. Like, then the other day will be awesome, right? You're like up and down, up and down. So when we're talking about mental barriers, as an entrepreneur, is there anything that you think you've struggled with mental barriers?
Just getting out of my comfort zone because I've been in my comfort zone for years. I have like a fortress of barriers to break down to get it. And when we were at the retreat, we had this saying, I think Candace came up with it, shattering the glass, right? So I had a lot of glass to shatter, still doing it. But if you're not growing, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. So
that's true. It's very true.
It
has to feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it has to feel scary when you're doing things, right? That's the only way you grow. I mean, I work with a lot of people that are, they have a lot of fear, right? That I try and untangle and, get over and stuff. And then you find that when you accomplish one small thing, then you have the guts to try something else.
100%. I was terrified to hire. I was so scared to interview.
That's right. I remember that.
Remember that? Yeah. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. But it was coming off the retreat. So I felt like so empowered by everybody's support, all the things we learned.
Right.
Like it was so amazing. And I just used that momentum to go into hiring. And so every level you get, you have hills to climb. But when you get up to the peak, you're just like, wow, like I made that. And then you remember how hard that first step was. So
Right.
when you go deeper, you're like, wait, okay, I was afraid of this, and now that's a piece of cake. So I can do this. It's just another step.
Well, hiring is like, so then you did your first, this was months ago now, whatever, last year. You did your first walkthrough and you felt like an imposter. And then when you when you interviewed for the first time, you're like, oh my God, this person doesn't know that this is my first interview ever. Like you go through that too. You just have to like fake it till you make it.
100%. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's talk about, so you can brag a little bit. What do you think you're good at?
I love relationships with people, even though I consider myself an introvert. I feel like
You're not an introvert at all.
Yeah. I totally am. I have to decompress after I've been with people. So yeah, I'm an introvert, extrovert. But yeah, so what was the question?
The question was, what do you think you're good at?
Oh yeah, sales, people, marketing. I love marketing. Me and Canva, we're besties. So.
Yep, Kelly Canva, that's her name.
Yeah, I just, that is what like excites me.
So you like creating, then you like the creative side of the business.
I do. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. No one likes the operational side of the business, right? The operational side of the business is the hard part of the business, right? It's much more fun to create logos and canvas and content. Like that's, I like that stuff too. You and I are very similar. Where like, I love people. I love connecting with people. I like sales. I love the marketing. I love all that fun stuff. Operational stuff you have to know how to do too. And I think it's probably good to say that you're not going to like every aspect of your business. Some things you're going to like more than you like others, but you need to figure out, as a CEO, you need to figure out how to do all of it. But then once you figure out how to do all of it, then you can delegate the stuff you don't like.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, numbers were really hard for me, as much as I love the projection of numbers and certain aspects of the numbers. And I love tracking my sales ratio, my closing ratio, all of the things, my average cost per hour, our production rate. I love that kind of stuff. But when you get to the nitty gritty, like Jay, your husband, no, that's a little bit too much. I hate
He lives and breathes it. He lives and breathes numbers.
Yeah, no. So
I like the numbers too. I like the numbers too, but like, yeah, it's just, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's a little bit too much, but I'm also super stubborn. And so when something's hard, I want to conquer it. And
that's a good point to have. That's good.
Oh, I don't know if it is, because it's you get bogged down with it sometimes, but then you can delegate it. Like you said, like I'm delegating things to one of my employees right now, and it just feels so good to be able to do that. And it's like, now I have more time to do the stuff that I'm really good at. So.
Right. Which is when you build your company and you have employees and you get to delegate stuff, which it feels really good. I know exactly what you mean. So, okay, what do you think you suck at?
Aside from numbers, I would have to say training people. Okay. I am not a fan of training people, because when you're training somebody, it just slows things down. And I'm just like, I just want to do it. It's kind of like when your kids are little, you're teaching them to tie your shoes, and you're like, just let me tie your shoe.
Well, you're, as an employer, you really are a parent.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Yeah, it's very similar to that. You have to discipline. You can't be their friend. You have to discipline and teach them the way or whatever. You know what I mean? Like having hard conversations, right? And firing a client. I know you've had experience with that. And that sucks. Nobody likes that.
Nobody likes that. Nobody likes having hard conversations. Nobody likes firing people. That's always, I had to do that last week. That was not easy. Yeah. I mean, it's
what
just
happened.
She just was not getting it. She was not getting it. And I thought, well, maybe it's me because I know I'm not the best trainer. And so
Yep.
I had my team lead take her and do a house.
Yep.
I said, please let me know your thoughts. I want her to work with you in this house. And she said the same thing I thought. So I was like, thank you. Okay.
Here you
This
go.
isn't going to work. It's not going to work. So
yeah, some people aren't meant to clean professionally.
no, there's a huge difference. I think people, well, even before I started this business, we had a cleaner. And I felt awful that I did not realize how hard the job is, number one, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
a professional cleaner and cleaning your own house is totally different. It's totally
Totally
different.
different.
So I don't think that many people realize that. So that's another thing I educate people on when I do the walkthroughs.
Yeah, no, for real. So do you think, like, what do you think other cleaning business owners struggle with after, now that, where you are? What would you say?
I would say the numbers. I think numbers are number one because if you're not quoting the right numbers,
Yep.
then you have no business. You have to profit a certain percentage. And how are you going to pay your employees if you don't know? If you don't know what your overhead is, how are you going to know? So knowing your numbers inside and out, and that's why I was kind of stubborn going, I'm going to figure this out. Like it's not easy, especially I also struggled going solo to having employees because I couldn't wrap my head around, if I'm in the field, I have to count myself. So,
Right. Yeah. A
yeah.
lot of people struggle with numbers. A ton of people. More women struggle with numbers than men. I don't know if that's just the way we're wired or whatever. But a lot of people struggle with numbers. They think they're making a profit. And then when I get a hold of them and we look at the numbers and then they're like, oh crap, I'm not making as much. But you have to know what your bottom line is so you can, know how much to pay your employees, what you can afford, what you can't afford yet or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. So
And those
numbers,
are people who have had their businesses for years and they don't know their numbers.
and that's more, that happens more often than not.
Yeah. So
With
that's what I
cleaners.
would say. If somebody's in business, if you're doing this, no,
Totally.
get
So
Cheryl.
you hate numbers and you hate training people.
Yes. Not a
It's valid. That's valid. I would say that's probably common.
mm-hmm.
I don't know what I hate. I have to think about that and get back to everyone. What do I hate? You know what I hate? I'm going to tell you what I hate. I hate.
So,
I hate when your staff leaves equipment at people's houses. I hate that. I don't get that. If you're doing your walkthrough, you should be able to bring all the spray bottles home and everything and the vacuum poles and this and that, like do a scan of things, right? And it's just like, oh my God, that drives me crazy. Obviously, can you tell that's been happening this week in my company? But that's one of the things I hate. Um, so what would you say scares the shit out of you in your cleaning business?
um, failure. Failure.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like to fail at things. If I set my mind to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to quit. So I would have to say that.
Yeah. Failure is interesting because, it's such a vague word, right? And you have to fail at things to get good at things.
Yes. Yes. This
You know
is
what I mean? Like people say, oh, I don't want to fail. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Just fail. Like go ahead, screw up, right? You fail because if you keep going, you're eventually going to get it right one day. And then you gain confidence, right? Anyone that's gotten to, $500,000, $1 million cleaning business and above has failed a million times. They're just probably not telling you that.
yes.
Right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
What's one of your biggest fears in your business?
Those dreams where you like are trying to run, but you're in quicksand. I have a cleaning version of that. And that's that my whole staff calls in sick. And I'm the one having to clean all of the houses that
Right.
That is a nightmare, and that keeps me up at night. I
Yeah.
have a pipeline of constantly hiring people so that that does not happen.
Is there so many details in the cleaning business, right? You have all these clients, and every client, their house is different, their requests are different. So, like, when you first, it doesn't happen to me anymore, but when I first started my company, I mean, there would be like nights where I would wake up in the middle of the night and start thinking about a client's house.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
just, oh, don't forget to change the notes, or the lock is different, or, oh, enter through the back slider, like, oh, put the dog out, all these things, right? Um, but it's like, do you feel like that you dream about your business sometimes when you don't, even when you don't want to?
I don't dream at all, but if I were to, yes. I mean, it's always on my mind, 100%.
You don't dream at all?
Huh? No,
You don't dream at all?
I rarely have a dream. I rarely can.
That's
I know. Yeah. I rarely have a dream. I don't know that I get in a deep enough sleep to dream, to be honest with you. But
well,
it's always on my mind, whether it's positive or negative. The business is always on my mind. I might be thinking of a great marketing idea, a post, a video to do, something, or oh no, I got to write that in the notes for the cleaners, and yeah, just always something. Always.
there's always something, right? As an entrepreneur, there's always something that we're thinking about. Everyone, like I said, everyone thinks it's easy, and it's not. So let's have a little fun here. Give me your favorite types of clients.
My favorite clients, and I'm so lucky that 95% of my clients are like this. They're super appreciative. They love the job that we do. They're constantly complimenting us, and they're not home, and
Mhm.
they pay the same day.
Did you say pay the same day, Kelly?
Yes, I
For
did.
those of you that are watching that are not cleaning business owners, we like to be paid the same day. Always due on receipt, especially with residential. So now give me an example, and this is the fun part. Give me the example of your least favorite type of client.
Um, the kind that don't realize how hard cleaning is.
Mm,
They don't pick up. It's like a deep clean, every clean. Those clients I don't last. They don't
yeah.
last. I don't want my team cleaning a house that I wouldn't clean, or if they feel unappreciative, or it's just not a fit. It's I One of the reasons why I like to do walkthroughs is to see these things and to talk to the client and explain to them the expectations on both sides, because communication is everything.
Totally. That's why I do in-person walkthroughs. You really can get burned if you
Mhm.
don't do an in-person walkthrough because you don't know the condition of the
Yeah,
house,
exactly.
right? That's,
Yeah, and you want to communicate. You might see something that they would not tell you over the phone, even through pictures or a video, and you want to talk to them about it. Like, you have 30 shampoo bottles in your shower. We're not going to wipe them all off and take them all off
disaster.
you have to explain these things in a walkthrough, because then the expectations are there.
So you could walk into a house that I had one probably 6 months ago. The woman didn't tell me she was a hoarder. And I walked into the house and I said, I'm sorry, I can't help you because that's a different issue, right? There's a lot of different issues going on there. She had like a million cats, you know what I mean? There was like cat boxes and feces and food on the floor and boxes. And, the poor thing had an issue beyond just cleaning that, we can't help. So if you do the estimate, you get the estimate, then your staff shows up there and they're into that. Like, you're losing revenue. It's a disaster. So years ago, I learned you have to do in-person
Mhm.
walkthroughs in residential. You're going to get your ass handed to you at one point or another. And it's just not worth it. So any clients come to mind that just were really gross?
Yes.
Who
They're no
are
longer
they?
with
Who
us.
are they?
They're no longer with us, but we had one that had a boy that liked to pee on everything, like
Mm,
everything. And we would find toilet paper rolls that were peed on, it just everywhere. And the last, and then stuff stuck to the kitchen floor. So every time we went in, it was like a deep clean. We were having to scrub. You couldn't just get a flat mop and mop it. So
Did it smell like pee in there?
It didn't. They had plug-ins everywhere, which was so gagging. Like you would walk in and so you had pee, plug-ins. It did not smell good.
Smelled like pee and plug-ins.
Right. So the last straw was around Christmas time. I had the 6-foot Swiffer duster, and I was getting the baseboards and the floor behind the Christmas tree to get up a few loose pine needles.
Yep.
And then I proceeded to go up to the 12-foot blinds, and I get this big whiff of urine, and I'm like, what? And I bring the Swiffer down, and I went to touch it, and it was wet. It was soaking wet with pee. And so inevitably the blinds had pee all over it. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So
how old was the boy?
4, 5. I don't know what.
You got to do the M&M thing in the toilet where you put the M&Ms in the water and then you have him aim to hit the M&Ms, and then he gets rewarded, not with the wet M&Ms, but with the dry M&Ms. Right?
Yeah, it was bad. The girls didn't like it. And I told them, no, this is the last time that we will be at this house.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, because when you're not in the field as an owner, you never want to put your staff in a situation that's gross, because your staff's going to think that you don't respect them.
Exactly.
You're making them clean that. And then staff can quit. We know how things change, right? Staff quit for, many different reasons, but you don't want to put them in a situation where you're not willing to clean yourself either.
Exactly.
So how did you let this client down? Like, what did you say?
I just said that we were no longer a fit, and that I referred them to somebody else that would be a better fit for them. And she's like, oh, I'm so disappointed. And I'm like, I understand. It's not going to work out.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Because you don't want to be like, your son's pissing all over the house, lady. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be like that. But again, it's your business. You get to choose which clients make it on your schedule, which is the great thing.
Yes. And I felt guilty. I mean, we're house cleaners, but there are levels, and it's not my ideal client. And the last straw is, I'm not going to put my team in that position. I don't want my employees to feel uncomfortable ever. So no, that's where you have to draw the line.
You as an owner, you realize that you have to have your staff's back if you want to keep them and build a good company culture. So they're going out and cleaning your accounts for you. You have to back them up.
Yes. And they so appreciated it. They were like, thank you so much. Like, you respect us, and you have to take care of your employees.
You do, or else you don't have a business. Right?
Yes.
So you and I have a similarity. I was a former national fitness competitor in my 20s. I competed in Miss Fitness America, all over the country. I did those routines and evening gowns and all that, like, fun stuff. But you are a former Ironman competitor, where you had to train intensively to prepare for a race that included swimming, biking, running, which all seem incredibly hard to me. So I wanted to talk about that, because I think that is so cool, and how you correlate your athleticism with your entrepreneurship. So tell us about the Ironman. What did that entail? What was the training like?
Okay. Well, it's 140.6 miles, and it's broken down into the swim portion, which comes first. That's 2.4 miles. And then you have a bike portion that's 112 miles. Yeah. And then you do a marathon, which is 26.2 miles, equaling 140.6. So there's time cutoffs for each area, the swim, bike, and the run, and then a time cutoff for the whole race. So no pressure. But I got into it because, funny enough, my son was 10 at the time, and I signed him up for a kids triathlon. He absolutely hated it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this looks like so much fun. I want to do this. And I had already run a couple of marathons. One marathon in 2 halves. So I had a base, and I decided to start doing sprint triathlons, which is significantly shorter. It's only a 500-yard swim, typically a 12 to 15-mile bike, and a 3 to 5 mile run. Every race is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But they're called sprints. And I did a few of those. And then Ironman was coming to the Woodlands for the very first time in 2012. And I thought I would volunteer because all my friends volunteered. Well, I was hooked. Seeing people of you have pros there, right? Because they're qualifying for Kona. But you also have everyday people, fit people, overweight people, people of all shapes and sizes, amazing stories. And it was so inspiring to me. And that day I signed up for the following year. So I had a year of training. It was amazing. It was honestly probably the best thing I did in my whole life.
That's cool. So what's the first thing you did before you started training? What did you do to get into it?
The first thing I did was hire a coach because I thought I cannot do this alone. Like, this is bigger than me. So I hired a coach who had done it before, and we had a great friendship. She had trained me on I had done a half. Well, no, not at that point. I think she trained me on a sprint. Anyway, we had kind of everybody kind of hung out together. And so we had a little bit of a relationship, and I just trusted her. And so I hired her to train me for the Ironman, and she helped me through it. She was really good at encouraging me when I needed to, kicked my butt when I needed that. So
Well, we all need our butts to be kicked, right? At one point or another. So your training for this was pretty intense, right? Like, what did your routine look like?
It was so intense at some points. I remember waking up at 4:00 in the morning, getting my kids ready for school, getting my stuff ready. And then I put them on the bus, and I would immediately get on my bike, and I'd ride all day long. And then the bus is coming back, and I'm getting off my bike and then going for a run. So, I mean, it's incredible. It was incredible. It was very intense. And then up at 4:00 in the morning, 20 degrees out. Yes, it does get that cold in Texas sometimes. Because it was in the winter.
20 degrees in Texas. I thought it was hot there all the time.
Well, we do get 2-3 days maybe of cold, and the rest is just hot and humid. But it was really intense. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, if I thought too far ahead, I thought this is impossible. My coach just kept saying, just trust the plan, just trust the plan. And I trusted her. So I'm like, okay, turn off the head. If you're in your head, you're dead. I just was very adamant about not letting any thoughts like that enter. And I just trusted her and just kept one foot in front of the other and doing it. So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, coaches in anything, whether they're athletic coaches, business coaches, like if you think like of a gymnast, right? Like a gymnast, they're younger, they always have coaches, and then they, go to nationals and then Olympics. Like everyone that's ever accomplished anything really profound has always had a coach behind them. Right? A boxing coach. Like think about like Rocky, for example. Like, Rocky had Mickey, right? He had a boxing coach, right? When you see all these things, like there are coaches in the background that help people get to where they need to be. There's acting coaches, there's music coaches, there's all kinds of people. So having a coach, hiring a coach for whatever you're doing, it isn't something that should be frowned upon. It should be looked at as something smart.
And that's how I viewed it, because just having the Ironman background, if you want to get somewhere faster, then, I mean, it's just a no-brainer. Then you hire a coach. You still have to put in all the hard work. It doesn't make it any easier. My coach did not do Ironman for me. She did not do the many, many months of training for me. It was still hard. You still have to go through the mental hurdles. But do you want to get to the finish line faster, less painfully? Yeah. I mean, it's a no-brainer, honestly. So that's why I did it. And I don't think if it was for her, I know I wouldn't have completed it.
Because she pushed you.
She pushed me. And I'll never forget, during the swim on race day, I knew if I was not going to finish the race, it was going to be in the swim. Because think about it, I don't know if anybody's seen the race Ironman, but
first of all, I hate swimming, so I wouldn't be doing an Ironman, but I believe you.
I am not a fan of swimming, and that's why I knew that this was going to be the biggest struggle for me. The pros go first, and then you're at a mass start with 2,000 other athletes, and it's chaos. It's like they describe it, so I knew what was about to happen. They describe it as a washing machine, and you're literally getting kicked, punched, swam on top of. Like, it is
crazy.
It's crazy. And so I remember being in that swim, and I got kicked, I got punched, I got swam over. Every time I went to breathe, I just got water, and you're just out of breath and you're choking. And I thought, I need to stop. I need to stop, and I need to catch my breath. And I was right on the line of, I could quit right now.
Yeah.
I could quit right now, and it'll be all over. And I just caught my breath and just thought, I can do this. I'm prepared. I've been trained for this. This is fine. I've got this. And I just started swimming, and my mantra, I had many mantras while training. If you're in your head, you're dead. But another one was just keep swimming. Dory, remember Dory?
Dory.
Yes.
Finding Nemo. I love that. Just keep swimming.
And I remember on my long swim days, I would just do that. Just keep swimming. You got to turn off your head. If it takes a mantra to do that, you got to do it. So I started swimming, and the sun was coming up, and it was beautiful. It was glistening off the water, and you could just see everybody just swimming. And I knew in that moment I would finish it. I just felt such gratitude being with these amazing athletes, and I just tingled from head to toe like, oh my gosh, I feel so privileged to be able to be here. I trained for this. I'm prepared. I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I know we both have talked about the correlation between fitness and business. And I remember when my first employee did not show up, and I could have been, it was like the same moment when I was in the swim. I could have gotten discouraged. I could have had a bad day, but I flipped it. And I thought, that's business ownership. I'm officially doing it. Yay. You know, just like when I was doing the swim, and I'm like, I'm doing an Ironman. Like, I am doing it. I just flipped it, and I'm like, just keep swimming, just keep going. And it's just part of it. You cannot have the successes in business or in whatever you're doing without having those moments.
Yeah, you wouldn't have, like, without you having that experience, you wouldn't be able to be as tough as you are now. Like, would you say that completing the Ironman really did it strengthen your mindset?
100%, because it taught me discipline, delayed gratification, just doing the constant mundane steps every day that you need to do. And eventually you're going to cross the finish line.
Yeah. I mean, your mindset really is, people say 50%. I say 75%. Your mindset's 75% of the battle. You just can't let the negative energy come in. You know what I mean? The bad clients or the bad employees. Don't let anyone steal your thunder. Don't let anyone, what's that expression? I can't think of it. Like, I don't know. Don't let anyone take your sunshine away from you. Do you know what I mean? Like, for lack of a better word. You have to let go of that, negativity and everything. But when you train for an athletic competition, you have to have discipline to get up every morning at 4:30. You have to have discipline to, do all the consistent mundane activities like the bike ride, the swimming, or whatever, even when you don't want to. And what that does is that calluses your mind to get tough. Right? That builds your resilience. And you have to work through this phrase called delayed gratification for a long, long time before you start to see improvements. And that's where most people will fail, is they fail right before they're getting to the good stuff. Do you know what I mean? They will fail right before the mountain. When things get real hard, sometimes people will quit, and you don't know if you didn't quit and you kept going, what's on the other side of the mountain.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep.
So were there ever times during your Ironman training where you wanted to quit? Was it when you were swimming that time when you had to take a breath?
I didn't let myself think about that, honestly. I knew I was on the edge. I was definitely on the edge, but I immediately had to like knock down that thought and just not let it enter and flip the script, you know? So that discipline has taught me so much that I can use that in the business, because it's like a muscle. The more you start doing it, the easier it gets, and you can use it in all areas of your life.
100%. If you learn, as a kid, I did my first fitness competition when I was 18. I actually did a couple of bodybuilding shows and I switched over to fitness. But when I was 18, I remember stepping on stage, like the year that was it the year I graduated high school? It was either the year I graduated high school or my first year in college. And I was like, crap, I can do anything. Because like my dieting and training was like so intense. It was 6 days, 7 days a week. It was nonstop. But after I did my first show, I'm like, I want to do another one. I want to do another one. Then a lot of you are getting to know me. I don't have enough button. I just have to keep going. But you just feel so accomplished when you do something like that. I think, athleticism is like really, there's a lot of correlation between athletes that go on and build successful businesses.
I agree. Right? Yeah. The correlation is amazing because you have to have that discipline and just know that every day, even though you don't see results and some days you may feel like you're backsliding, it's all normal. It's all part of the process. I mean, during training, we actually had weeks where we didn't work out. Like you would have like a quarter of the workout maybe than what you normally would, or a week off completely. And you're like, oh my gosh, because that next workout, 5 miles seems hard. And I'm like, how am I ever going to do 140 miles? And your brain can mess with you if you let it, but you just have to trust the process. And I mean, that's why hiring a coach for the business was a no-brainer to me. I mean, because of my experience with Ironman, I knew if I did what somebody else has done already, then yes, I'm going to have to put in the hard work. It doesn't make it any easier, but you cross the finish line that much faster.
Yeah, that's why when you and I had talked last year, because we've been working together now, it's just about a year now, you were just like, yep, you know what you're doing. Yep, sign me up. And you didn't even hesitate. It's because you had that other experience with Ironman, with already having a coach. And you know that if she didn't push you, you wouldn't be able to maybe finish that race. You would have quit. You would have gotten out of that, where the swimming thing, you would have been like, fuck this, I'm done, right? You would have been done for
Exactly, because you can let yourself down. It's so much easier to let yourself down, but you're not going to let somebody else down, especially when you respect that person and you know that person has your back and will want it as much as you want it. Like that, to me, is like whenever there's something hard that you want me to do and I don't want to do it, I'm not gonna
like getting on a live podcast.
Maybe, yeah. I might kill you later.
She sounds natural. She's a natural at this. You don't even realize it.
No, I'm paybacks. But yeah, I mean, so it's just interesting.
No, I mean, having a coach will get you in anything you do, right? Will get you there faster, or you'll avoid pitfalls. You'll learn techniques that you would have never thought of. It could have taken you 3-4 years to think of it. You know what I mean? No one gets out of bed in the morning and is a master hirer, a master employer, right? That takes a lot of skill. That's one of the biggest things, one of the hardest things to learn in this business. And it's the reason why people grow to $1 million cleaning businesses and other people don't. That's, I mean, if you really want like the black and white, it's that, right? No question about it.
If you listen to all the podcasts, the best CEOs have business coaches. I mean,
All of them.
all of them, they all do, because you need that accountability and
You
also
do.
somebody to see something in a different way than you see it.
Mhm.
So to me, I don't know. It was a no-brainer.
And it doesn't make you
I
weak.
know that successful has had a coach, whether it's a
Like,
business coach, a life coach.
and people say, like, obviously it costs money to hire a coach, right? Why? Okay, it costs money to hire a coach because that coach has earned it. It's like a rites of passage, right? They've grown their own business to a certain level. They help other people. They know what they're doing. They took the time to learn all the skills you need to learn, whether it's sales, whether it's marketing, whether it's overcoming objections, whether it's hiring, creating a company culture. They've taken all the time and they've put in all the hard work. So a lot of times I find that, people get nervous. Obviously, different coaches have different price points. People get nervous and they say, oh my God, that seems like a lot of money. Well, not really. You need to invest in yourself if you're going to grow. That is just, I had coaches before, like when I was doing my fitness routines and all that stuff. Like I had people helping me because, you can't do everything alone. It's impossible. No one is born with greatness. Greatness is learned when it comes to business skills. You got to screw up and fail like over and over and over until you get better at things, or hire a coach and skip all that shit.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
so what would you go ahead?
Oh no, it's okay.
No, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that it doesn't mean that you're not going to do the hard work, but don't you want to do it with somebody who's already been through the mistakes? I mean, my Ironman coach told me so many things that happened to her in the previous races that saved me so much heartache and pain. So, I mean, that's why I picked somebody that had done it and had done several, because I wanted to know, okay, what mistakes did you make? How can I avoid it? Did I still have to do the training and put in the hard work 100%? Yep. But I got to the finish line faster, I made it. So, yeah.
So take us through your daily routine. What daily habits have been non-negotiable in your success?
Non-negotiable. I wake up early. I wake up anytime between 4:30 and 5. And
yay! Yay!
Yes, I used to not be able to do that. I'm getting better at it. And then I work out, and I don't let myself have coffee. Coffee's my thing. I got to have my coffee, my Nespresso every morning. But I don't let myself have that until I've worked out. And then I can enjoy my coffee, and then I plan the day. I plan it the night before, but I gear myself up mentally. And then as I'm getting ready, I listen to a podcast or a book. I'm always listening to something. And then I start my day, and then I end it non-negotiable hot bubble bath just to decompress. Nice. I review my day. I think about what I was grateful for, things that went well, and then I plan the following day.
It's good. That's a good, healthy day. You know what I mean? How would you say you stay motivated when there are, during challenging business periods, when things aren't going your way?
I have to just continue to look at my goals, my vision board, where I want to be, and just remember, that's my Ironman finish line. Whenever things got tough in the race, I would just always think how amazing it's going to be to cross that finish line. It's going to feel so good. And so I use that same mentality with the business. I just know if I keep doing the things, it's going to happen.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone who's just starting out in the cleaning industry, or, they're brand new? Like, what advice would you give them?
I would say, you're going to be surprised by this. Hire a coach as soon as you can, because I'm so glad I did soon into my business, because I was able to work with you and put in all my SOPs, my training manual, my all the things, my contracts and everything, so that when I got so busy I didn't have time, guess what? I already had it. It was it was such a relief and mental stress taken off my shoulders, because it was already done. I was too busy at that point to to do those things. So I recommend as soon as you can to do it. And, you know, I know a lot of people get tripped up on the investment. Honestly, it's just one client. If you think about it, you have to look at your ROI, and an ROI with a coach. I mean, you're looking at, depending on what, you know, plan you want to do. It's just one client, and your ROI.
It's one client. Yeah. It's like going out and getting one biweekly client over the course of 12 months, basically.
Yeah. Exactly. And so when you look at that and you're like, well, look at all the things I can gain. I knew without a shadow of a doubt, it would just be a drop in the bucket. And it literally was. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and a lot of, you know, people are fear-based, right? A lot of women struggle with fear, you know, belief in themselves, you know, so like, oh, I don't know if I want to hire a coach. What they're really saying is I don't know if I can pull this shit off. That's what they're saying.
And I was more afraid to not have a coach and not do it. You know what I mean? Like the mentality is totally different.
Yeah. And sometimes, you know, sometimes they have partners that aren't supportive.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a real thing that happens. Like husbands or partners, like they're just like, well, why do you need a coach for? Why can't you do it yourself? Well, because they know that they want to do it faster. They know that they're making mistakes or whatever. So a lot of women struggle with the husband naysayers, right? Husbands in general are meant to protect. That is like the, you know, as old as time. Protect the woman, protect the female from getting hurt, from getting burned, or you whatever. And you know, although that, you know, that is valid, right? That's caveman type. You know, back then it was caveman, animals, whatever, Western dudes, right? Different. But you know, on another hand, you know, the women of today, like they're starting businesses at an alarming rate. So usually a woman has a good instinct about something. So to all the men that are out there that are listening, trust your woman. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So what would you tell, like, you know, we said, like, we talked about like giving advice to someone who is starting out in the industry. What would you tell that person to avoid doing?
Avoid going alone.
Don't do wrong, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just you just have such a profound effect on me, and we have a great camaraderie with other business owners. And so not only, you know, did I find working with you beneficial, but the other ladies in our group are amazing. And the camaraderie, you realize you're not alone building this. We brainstorm amazing ideas. We help each other. We vent to each other. I mean, it's just amazing. And I don't know. Like, you just have
find a tribe, right? Like find a tribe of people.
Because nobody understands like what you go through. Nobody understands. I was telling somebody recently that I had to, you know, work 12, 14-hour days this last week. I mean, that's a pretty common thing. And she's like, why? Why are you working so much? And I'm just like, you don't get it. But if I tell our group, they're like, oh yeah, same here. I had a 10-hour day.
Same thing. You got to surround yourself. So the biggest mistake, I guess, that people that start businesses do is they don't surround themselves with like-minded individuals. They tell all their daily stuff to their husbands or their friends who are looking at them like, well, I don't get that. You know what I mean? Don't surround yourself. Obviously, keep those people. They're in your life, but find your tribe. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals that are going through the same struggles as you, that, you know, they get you.
And back to Ironman training, the reason why I never had doubt or had bad days is, well, I mean, tough days, but never thought of quitting because I was training with a group of people. We had a team, and it's the same thing. Like when you're surrounded by people who are aiming for the same goals, you know, you all have good and bad days, but you always lift each other up. And I find that pivotal. It's so important. It's important.
So let's talk about specifically, now that we kind of briefed into that, let's talk about specifically your time in the Drop Them Up and Scale Accelerator and now Sisters Elite. You completed the Drop Them Up last year, which is like the entry-level program where you learn, you know, all your fundamentals, you know, in the Sisters Who Scale University, if you will. It's where all the cleaning business owners get all their operational documents, learn the skills, how to hire, to raise your rates, things like that. And now you've advanced on to Sisters Elite. Now you're really concentrating on sticking points, in your business to really, build that resilience and start to scale. So tell the listeners, when you first were looking for a coach, what did you find out? Because there's so many choices out there, and they aren't all the same. And it's important to find someone that you truly vibe with and connect with when you're looking for a coach.
Yes, there's as many coaches as there are cleaning. No, just kidding.
No, there's not.
There's not, but it feels like it. I looked at a lot of coaching programs. Some were too big and rah-rah for me. I wanted the nuts and bolts. I knew what I was looking for. It was essentially like what I had during Ironman, somebody that would like help me with a belief because I was struggling with that, but also kick my butt and challenge me when I needed that as well. So I looked at a lot of YouTube videos. I binge watched them, and I came across you on Facebook actually. And I thought, oh, I kind of like her, and then
it's interesting that like, this is so funny to me. And this is like different, right? So like we have this, like, they always say, oh, the northern people and the southern people. But I find that southern people really like me, and I don't know why that is.
I think because southern people, here's what I think. I think southern people have to pretend nice all the time. Oh, bless your heart. I'm so sorry. And you say it how it is. And we want to say it how it is, and we can't. I can't.
I have cousins in Tennessee. Yeah, I have. So I'm like, I always thought that like years ago I was like born like in another life. I was born on a plantation, and I lived like in. I love the South. I really feel in a different life. I was born there. That's probably why.
That's so funny.
It is funny.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I just feel I love the no nonsense. I love the nuts and bolts. I love that you say what you really are thinking, and it's not sugar coated.
Definitely not. How can anything be sugar coated from a maid service owner, a cleaning business coach from Boston?
Yeah.
Just sugar coated up here. So tell everyone your experience in the Drop the Mop and why you chose to enroll in my program.
Like I said, when I found out you did fitness competition, I'm like, okay, she's my girl. And then also that you did walkthroughs. That's hugely important to me. Relationships are everything. And so many people do not believe in that. And that was a hard thing for me. Like I was not going to do it any other way. I just knew relationships are going to help you retain clients. So I did Drop the Mop, and I just went to every class. I did all my homework. I was really diligent in getting all the things done. And I learned so much. One of the things I liked the best was the other people in the group. And when we would go over our homework, just the other ideas that I got, and we helped each other, and we became friends. And it was a great experience.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, everyone I have group programs and I have private programs, and the people in the group program really get a massive benefit because they get to bounce ideas off other cleaning business owners that are in all different states, right? So there's no competition. You could have someone in California and someone in Maine, right, that you're talking with, and you could be like, wow, I never thought of it like that way. And then you get an idea from someone, and you take it and put your spin on it and make it your own. Like, people really gel in those group calls because it's a Zoom call and everyone gets to see each other. So you kind of get to know each other.
Yeah, you do. Janet was in mine, so it was really neat to see her at the Rise retreat.
Who? Which one?
Janet. She was in my Drop the Mop. And so, so that was pretty cool because I felt like I knew her.
Cool. Yeah, Janet from New Hampshire. Yep. So would you say the investment in the program was scary to you? Like why or why not?
No, because my husband's a businessman, and we, have a lot of friends who are business owners, and they all have coaches. So I didn't even think twice about it. I just was like, that's just what you do if you want to be successful. It didn't faze me, honestly.
Then it goes back to, like you saying earlier, that most successful business owners have had a coach at one time or another.
100%.
It's just smart. It's smart. Like, I wouldn't I wouldn't start, another business entirely without having a coach behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just find it smart. And I never thought anything aside from getting a coach, because that's just what we've been around. You know what I mean? Like,
So you have the support of your husband. Your husband's also, in business, in sales and stuff. So he gets it.
100%. He's my biggest cheerleader. As a matter of fact, too much so. He's like, honey, you don't have to do this. I'm like, don't say that to me. Don't say that.
If you're in my head, you're dead.
Yeah. I'm like, no, honey, I appreciate the support, but like, this is my dream and I'm going to do it. So yeah.
I mean, there's a low barrier barrier to entry to starting a cleaning business. Anyone can start a cleaning business, but not everyone can grow a cleaning business. You really have to have guts. You have to be able to take risks. You have to be able to mitigate crisis, manage people, things like that. Not everyone is cut out for that. So if you think you have it, but you're just scared shitless, or you're just like having really hard days, if you get someone behind you to be, hold you accountable and push you, you have a much better chance of succeeding. Right? Than if you did it yourself.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Yep. And you want to increase your chances as much as possible.
Totally.
So, I mean, again, I don't understand the hesitation, because do you want to be successful? Do you want to get to the finish line faster with less mistakes? That's what my goal was. I wanted to, when I decide I'm going to do something, I'm 100% in, and I knew the investment was going to be worth it to me. And
it was all in.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be willing to do the work and take risks. That's part of business ownership.
You can't have a backup plan. You're just going to say, screw it, and just going to go forward.
Yeah.
If you have a backup plan, it's a side hustle. Exactly. And you don't consider it a real business, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So why would you recommend the Drop the Mop program to owners that might be feeling stuck, or maybe just haven't developed the right skills yet to grow?
It's foundation from A to Z. Like, you cover everything in it. So it's very nice, because then there's no blind spots. You're walking in and you're having this great foundation. There's no holes in it. You have the training manual, contracts, all the SOPs, everything's done. You talk about marketing, branding, all the things. So you can have confidence in knowing that you can scale once you have that. And a lot of business owners, they'll come in and they'll have a good part of something. Maybe they're good at it, but maybe they're not so good at numbers, and they don't realize, you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know, you don't know. Yeah.
And like you said, a lot of the women get started cleaning. They don't have a business background or degree typically. So they have holes in their business that need to be plugged. You're not going to get to where you want to go without having that foundation.
Right. And then I think, like, you can watch YouTube videos, like, to get yourself started and stuff like that. All the free stuff is good, in the beginning, but it's pretty superficial, right? For advice.
It is. Yeah. And I learned a great deal from the YouTube videos, but they don't know your business. They don't know your market. They don't know the individual struggles and clients or employees and all the things.
So let's talk about something fun. Rise Retreat, right? You came to Seaburg, New Hampshire in New England. There's another one coming up in Destin, Florida in the end of April, 23rd to 26th. So you had never been to New England before, right?
I had not. It was on my bucket list. And I think during one of the very first Drop the Mops, you mentioned it. And I'm like, oh, I'm there. I'm there. Lobster on the beach? Yes, I'm there.
We're beach people.
Yes, for sure.
But you didn't know any of the only one you knew was Janet, right? Janet Glidden from Hampton, New Hampshire. So you just came and you're like, screw it. I just know Janet. I don't know any of the other ladies. So describe, like, your experience. It was the 3 days of, like, intense learning. I trained my ass off. Jay came in and trained, and we trained for like all day. It was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then everyone was asking us questions. We talked about business for probably like 14 hours a day, like 3 days.
And we all loved it, like, because we all eat, breathe, sleep, the business. And so it's like, it was fun to be around other people. So I wasn't sure what more I could get, because I felt like I got so much from Drop the Mop, and I was cautiously optimistic, I would say. I had faith in you that you would put together something really well. So, but I just was like, I don't know. I feel like I know it all, like at that point, because I did the Drop the Mop. So, but I knew I would get something out of it, and New Hampshire was on my bucket list. So why not? I'm adventurous. But yeah, I was a little nervous about all the things, but I will say it was the most amazing time. And I rode that wave afterwards for so long. I got so much out of it. And the girls, all of us, we just hit it off, and it was amazing. We had a really great time.
Be around your peeps, right? You need to be around your people, like-minded individuals. Like, it helps you keep going.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it does. I mean, we laughed so hard, and we taught each other how to fold funny things, and like we just had the best time. But we learned so much too. Like, it was amazing.
I don't think you had lobster before, right?
Oh yeah, I'm a lobster eater.
You have, yeah. But
Gloria, I have never taken it apart though. I'm not one that likes to touch things that have eyes and like, things. And
things that were on the bottom of the ocean floor.
Yeah, no, that was quite an experience. And did I want to do that? No, but I did, because when you're there, you just have to do it. So that was
New England lobster. It's like, hello. Yeah, Victoria. Who's from Massachusetts? She hadn't had it or whatever. And then
Gloria, never heard it again.
Funny picture of Gloria like holding the lobster and stuff. It was so funny. But no, it was cool as shit. That was like a real, that was like, it was like 10 times better than I thought. I was like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, it was really amazing.
So anything else that you like? This has been awesome. We've talked straight for an hour and a half. I'm sure you're probably tired. Anything else like you would like to say to the listeners today?
I would just like to encourage everybody who is maybe starting out, they're scared and they're out of their comfort zone, to just keep doing it. Just keep one foot in front of the other, because what feels hard now is not going to be. One day you're going to look back and go, wow, I can't believe I used to struggle about this, because you may enjoy that thing. And then to don't hesitate to get a coach. No matter who it is, find somebody that you vibe with and do it, because the return on investment is such a no-brainer. I'm just so thankful that I found you so soon after I started my business, because it cut so many mistakes that I would have made, and just the foundations that I didn't even know I needed. It just was amazing. So I would tell people
and it's been awesome getting to see you grow. And, obviously we've become friends, right? Because that's what happens. We become friends with everyone. But just to see you grow, and, you like me pushing you and going through the hard times and then getting to the good times, like, it is such a great feeling for me. Years ago, I always knew I wanted to help people. I always wanted to coach business owners, right? And so, I've been doing it now for a little bit, but like, I never realized in a million years how like gratifying it is for me to help other people grow their businesses. Like, it's been just like so amazing. I never expected it was going to be as good as it is. So thank you for just being just awesome. You're an awesome student.
I don't know about that, but I try. And if I'm not, you're going to kick my butt. So I gotta be.
So if anyone is listening who is looking for a cleaning business company, if you are in Texas, if you are in the Woodlands area, the Conroe area, and Willis, in Houston, the Houston, Texas area, and you're looking for a phenomenal cleaning service, call Daisy Fresh Cleaning. Have Kelly come and do an in-person website. How do people find your business online, Kelly?
We are daisyfreshcleaning.net.
Okay, daisyfreshcleaning.net. Do you want to? Here's your 2-minute pitch. Do you want to pitch anyone? Why would someone want to hire you?
Well, we have a passion, like I talked about earlier, for helping people and making people feel taken care of and loved, because everybody is just so overwhelmed these days. And there's nothing better than walking into a clean home with all the little special touches and feeling taken care of. So we do bi-weeklies, we do monthlies, move-ins, move-outs, and we also do custom cleaning. So
awesome. Well, if I lived in Texas, I'd be hiring you because I hate cleaning my own house.
Don't we all?
So just a couple quick announcements. Open registration for the Drop Them Off and Scale is coming starting next week for the Winter Accelerator 2025. If something resonated with you today and you want to see if the Drop Them Off is right for you or could be a solution, or you'd like to come and meet all of us at the Rise Retreat in April 23rd to the 26th in Destin, Florida, you can email me at sisterswhoscale@gmail.com. Or you can go to Facebook and find the Sisters Who Scale group on Facebook. Just type in the search bar Sisters Who Scale and it would come up, and just join the group. I'm the one that moderates it and everything. I go over the application process for Drop Them Off because I don't take everyone. Only the motivated people, only the people that are going to do the work. Those are the ones that come into the program, because you have to be ready for me, because like Kelly says, I'm no bull.
Cheryl, don't play.
I don't play. No, I'm nice though. I'm nice.
You are nice. That's why I love you. You're nice. You kick my butt.
So Drop Them Off is the program. Rise Retreat, if anyone is interested in Rise Retreat, email me or find me in the group, and I can give you all the details for that too. This has been awesome. What a good first podcast.
Well, thanks for having me.
This was fun.
It was so fun. Thanks for having me.
So fun. All right. Looks like it's going to be bedtime soon for us entrepreneurs. We could get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Yes, we do.
All right. Have an awesome night.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.